Hello everyone, welcome back. Good afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well. So we're recording this class today. It's 3 o'clock on the West Coast, and you may have seen by the title, it's going to be an urban detox, which is our restorative practice. We don't record these every day, not even every week. So I thought it would be nice to get a new detox practice in the library. So if you are practicing live, right, or if you want to roll out your mat, you're getting the notification and you'd like to practice, this is going to be in restorative. So you could do this practice. You don't even need a yoga mat. You could do it on floor, carpet, something with a little bit of padding, and then just have some extra tools around you, if you will. Maybe a yoga block or a pillow or a blanket. You're going to use these things and to support your body. If you've done detox with us before, you know that it's primarily about letting your body release, letting your muscles relax, and so you're not going to be holding yourself up in the positions. Right? It's going to be much more of a passive experience, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be easy, because when you let the weight of gravity fall through, right, the muscles aren't holding up against the joint, and then you're going to get a different kind of sensation in your body. And so we'll explore some depth in compression and release, and I'll guide you through the entire experience. So, again, if you're welcoming a nice, relaxing, restorative experience as part of your practice, I'd say once a week at least, put a detox into the mix. There's plenty out there on the channel in the library from quarantine. We used to do them every evening. Mix them in once a week is such a great opportunity and to explore not only your practice physically, but also to explore your practice of meditation. You may find an added opportunity of meditation throughout the detox because you're going to be sitting in poses for a longer period of time. So if you always wondered, when is there time to actually observe my thoughts, right? You're moving me, I'm listening, step my right foot forward, step back. There's so much going on, when you're moving through a flow. This might be a great way and to rewire your brain a little bit, and you might find the opportunity to actually observe your thoughts without attaching to them, without continuing to contribute reaction and then more energy into the thoughts where they're spiraling and getting tighter, and you can kind of feel that in your body and your mind. You may actually feel this kind of unwinding things a little bit more. So I see we've got a couple of people live. That makes me happy. I hope you enjoy the practice. Let's going to start. Lie down onto your back. If you'd like to use a playlist, so I was able to, my Facebook account I've mentioned got hacked, and so it was connected to my Spotify account, which turned me into basically a number identified in Spotify, but I was able to speak with them, link that from the hacked Facebook, so you will see my name back out there on Spotify. And if you want to pull up any detox playlist, you are welcome to do so. If you'd rather go without music, and I'm sitting here next to the busy street outside the studio, you get in every mix match of sounds, maybe a helicopter, just city noises. You can make that part of your meditation as well. If there's anything you need to make yourself more comfortable on your back, so again, you'll be in the positions a little bit longer, so having a pillow or a blanket rolled up, if you want to put it underneath your neck, ways that you can soften the knees, tuck towels underneath your knees. You can do these things. It's going to be less about what the shape looks like and more focus in regard to observing, okay, what's still holding on in the body? What's still tight or what's still gripping, and consciously moving your awareness towards that part of your body, and so that you can, it sounds like a oxymoron, you can actively release whatever tension you may be holding on to, or you could at least watch it and it might release if you sit on it and continue to surrender in your body to gravity little by little. Experience less dialogue, less instruction, so no need to worry. I have not gone anywhere. If I give you bigger pockets of space to sit in, all you need to do is sit there. You don't actually have to have your eyes closed. And some people prefer practicing with a soft gaze. You're dulling your vision. You're not looking around, obviously. But a dull gaze out on one spot is fully acceptable in a way to explore this practice, or you can do it with your eyes closed for the most part. And so as we're lying here, I could feel myself letting go of the muscles in the chest, and therefore feeling more grounded and across my back, less rigid in through the front of the ribs, and yet still holding on into the belly. And so it's not easy and to let go of some of these spots in the body. If I just say relax the stomach, and that may or may not happen. And so you got to observe in layers, and sometimes releasing around the hips, releasing the inner thighs, and letting go of the strength in your legs all the way throughout. And then you might start to get a little softness in your belly. And a really cool feature of this practice is even when you think you've let go all the way, you think there's nowhere else that you could possibly and let go in the posture and the pose, you can watch the breath, the air come into your body, and then as it goes out, you'll probably be able to set even deeper into the release. As you're guided and invited to change shapes, and please do so as calmly and as slowly as you possibly can. You may take even up to 30 seconds to transition your body from stillness and then to move into another shape. You can keep the arms and the head, the shoulders grounded, and bring the soles of your feet together so they touch. You can keep a pretty wide diamond shape with the legs so the feet don't have to come in all that close to the hips, and let your knees fall away from each other. You've got adjustments that you can make. You could even slide your feet further away, or you could bring your feet up a little bit. The idea is to feel it somewhere through your inner thighs, up to where your inner thighs come into your groin, from your groin to your pelvis. And so adjust the feet, and then once you're feeling and the sensations in that part of your body, and then you can fall into what's called the settling phase, where you're going to let go of adjusting. You practice not moving and being still with the sensations and fully aware of whatever might be going on through your beautiful mind. I'll personally find 10 out of 10 times in this pose that one side and one hip feels different than the other. I've been mentioning this good sign in the practice of body awareness, when you can begin to pick up that one side of your body feels different than another. It can be very interesting to allow your body and to be in one place. And then on top of that, and to relative stillness into the layers of your body. And now you can open the door and to receive throughout the entire practice. You don't have to wait until you get to the end. You don't have to do 10 classes and then open the door on the 11th. You can open the door right away, and so that you're receiving, connecting through the benefits of your practice at any time. And use your hands to support yourself on your outer thighs. Any little achiness or these sensations that are going to be and probably different, right? Because you've been in the pose for 3, sometimes 4 or 5 minutes. So go slow. And begin to bring your knees back up towards each other. And you can observe, check in with how your body's feeling. As you set your feet flat, knees can fall in towards one another. And let your hands rest down onto your belly. Already you may be able to notice a change. So what if you only had 10-15 minutes to practice, and you simply made your way into this guidance, this class, and you could already feel a shift? I would encourage you, and come from any place, any time, high energy, low energy. You fall onto your mat, and then once you start and kind of settling in underneath the guidance, the instruction, this is a wonderful benefit as to why we do these things together, why we don't leave ourselves necessarily in having to do this completely on our own, and yet understanding that it is an individual practice. It is a internal and connected practice within ourselves. Let's bring your feet back together. Take your right arm over your head. Left, and then roll onto your right side. You rest your head into your bicep and take your left arm down your side. And we stay heavy and happy. This can be a very happy practice. You notice how the way that information is fed to us these days, even when you say, I'm going to take a break, you end up getting on your phone, you end up filling that break space with something else. And so even that much more of an incentive to come to a guided restorative practice. And there's a lot of them out there. And so even if this one doesn't mix well with you, I always encourage people, I say, try yoga with somebody else. Give it a few tries. And use your left hand into the ground. And go ahead and press your way. Come around to all fours. And separate your knees so they're about mat width distance apart. And then take your bum back towards your heels. And this is where you could put, if it's really tight in your ankles, Slide something in between your feet. Give your bum something to set on. And then take your right arm underneath your left armpit. And slide the arm out as far as you go till you start to feel, right? You could see on my upper back there on the right side. I'm starting to feel the sensation there. And then we're going to gently bring ourselves down and release the head. Find a nook. A lot of this is nook and sliding into spaces and places, and it doesn't matter, once again, what it feels like or actually what it looks like. It does matter what it feels like, but it doesn't matter what it looks like. A nice, soft, natural breath. If you need to make any adjustments, you should be feeling it. But it's not to the point where it's overwhelming you, where you're like shaking to be still. There should be, in the realm of feeling, the opportunity and to realize settlement. And then soften every part of your body, wherever your mind goes. And scan over that part of your body. And if it's active, if you're feeling like the muscle is working, let it do the opposite. Let it take a break. And feel it if you're getting some tingles in your right arm down to your hand, or from your hips down to your knees into your toes. You're pretty deep in this compression. We'll stay for about 1 more minute. And yet at any time in the last minute, if you feel like, ooh, this is just too much, right? Unable to calm, unable to drop in and be still, you just want to gently bring yourself out and feel the release and observe the flow. Yet if you can, stay with me about 45 more seconds. You use your left hand, slowly drag your right arm back out. And we're going to let this right arm release, catching the flow. So from here, move your hips forward, just enough to slide your knees back. You're going to let the legs go straight, and we'll rebound in a belly shavasana. Ooh, feel the hips. And take your right arm down by your side. And then come down onto your right cheek, both arms by your sides. And it should feel nice. Let your breath go. Take a little sigh. And let's bring the chin back to center, hands underneath your shoulders. And you make your way back up to all fours. And reset your knees so they're mat width distance apart. And so that rebound, that expansion of space in between, and that's where it's at. Keep it open to receive, bum back to your heels, and then slide your left arm through. As you begin to come down onto your left shoulder, rest your head, and use your right hand wherever you need to support. And so right up there across your upper back, underneath your shoulder blade, into your rhomboid muscle, and feel as gravity lays you down into your shoulder. It's really nice to see where you can drift and how still you can become. And sometimes you'll toggle, you'll be right there on the line, being awake and being asleep. Let's do one more minute on this side, please. You can use your right hand beside your face. Start to slide your left arm back out. Just enough to crawl yourself forward. And release your legs out long behind you. And separate your feet. Let your hips spread into your mat, into the floor. And then bring your left arm down by your side. And turn to your left cheek. And find a comfortable space for your right arm to be. And you can let your body go here. Start to turn your chin back down to the ground. And bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. And we'll make our way back up to all fours. And hands and knees coming out. Observe the state of your being. If you'd like to move your hips gently side to side. And roll them around. Head around. And then setting up into a lunge, bring your right foot forward in between your hands. And you can double pad your left knee. You could put a pillow or a blanket folded underneath your left knee if that is sensitive. And then set some distance into your lunge so you're able to feel into your right hip crease. You might feel tightness in the back of your right leg. And then the right hand is outside the right foot. Your left arm is here as a kickstand. And so we're allowing the front of the shoulder to fall into the top of the knee, the lower part of your thigh. And then as you soften around it, let your head start to hang heavy. You feel sensations through the lunge of your body, also feel sensations possibly from the compression of your shoulder into your knee. So we're going to get some nice flow going through these shoulders today. And yet still wake up and get some deeper tracks connected through your hips. And we can actually take a positive and spin in regards to resistance. And if you're meeting that resistance and sitting in these poses, that sensation becomes, in essence, a teacher. Your willingness to explore stillness around the sensation of the resistance, and will probably spawn some attachments that exist in your mind, at which then you can sit and observe. You don't have to change them. You don't have to move them around or reorganize them and figure them out. All we're asking ourselves to do is be in a mode and to observe. And through that observation, we'll connect and explore more space within our bodies and more peace within our minds. We say if your life is one where your mind thinks there's just not enough hours in the day. I hear people say this all the time. Just not enough hours in the day. It's so busy.
And come with me and do a detox practice. We do them on Wednesday evenings and Sunday afternoons. Come on over or do it online. Right? When your mind toggles into that rush, there's not enough time in the day. And you come to the detox practice. And think about it, if you're able to observe your mind and without sitting in that constant push and pull of reaction, if you're actually able to sit and observe your mind, then you're going to be able to tell what tools to use and when to use them. I mean, a lot of this stuff I think you want to incorporate proactively versus reactively and say, I'm going to practice and find my mat 3 times a week, 4 times a week. Eventually, I encourage everybody to find the daily practice, but you want to do that which is sustainable, right? It's not a challenge. You incorporate the framework to that which is sustainable, and you'll receive many of the benefits physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale, let all the air come out of your body. And slowly, we're going to feel it start to move your hips back in space. And as you move your hips back in space, start to slide your right foot back on your mat. And however you get there is fine. And then bring your right knee down onto the ground. Untuck your mat under your left knee or remove any pillows or padding. Crawl yourself forward a little bit and then rock off onto your left hip. You keep yourself relatively square facing forward. And we're going to create this deer pose leg situation. So your left leg is bent and shin roughly parallel to the top of the mat, and then your right leg is bent. And so your left foot is sitting there right on towards your right thigh. And so this right hip is what we were just compressing down into. And so now we're going to turn away from it and walk your hands to the left. You make your way down onto your left elbow. If that's too much, and stay on your hands, then you might want a little pelvic tilt adjustment. Okay, lifting the hips and then settling them back down, because remember, we're not physically holding ourselves up in the postures. And so even though we're using the left arm, it's more of the bone structure. You're not holding yourself muscularly here. You're using the arm as a prop. But if you had something to tuck underneath your back, underneath your left side body here, you could do that. Or eventually, you can let yourself come all the way down onto your shoulder. And in this case, it is okay if my right knee is hovering off the ground, unless you have knee things. But if you're feeling the stretch from the top of your right thigh, it's okay if your right knee lifts a little bit. You might be able to roll square onto your shoulders. Hey, this is where it gets, it's all relative. So remember, it's not about what it looks like. If you wanted to have some pillows, or if you wanted to stay up on your elbow, whatever that looks like for you. But I'm waving this wand. I'm feeling sensation over in the right thigh, not pain, but certainly a sensation that is, and something is stretching, something is moving. You feel that begin to settle in. And relax. This one's nice because, yeah, you're getting the thigh, you're getting the increase of the hip, but check out this right foot, right? Not necessarily a shape you're going to find your foot in, and you use your feet pretty much throughout every single day. So if those sensations are lighting up your foot, and you can sit with those as well, and sit with them. And throughout the duration of the expression, the pose that you're in, completely fine if you find that you're settling deeper and deeper and the shoulders are getting heavier, and then a part of your body opens up and you're like, ooh, I'm going to move into that space. But this is, again, observing, right? I'm not forcing. I don't have an agenda. There's nowhere that I need to be other than where I am right now. And there's nothing that I need to fix. It's all part of the process. Yeah, either way, if you're on your elbow, right, or if you're all the way down onto your back, you're going to come up just enough and to begin to turn your right knee up, sliding your foot forward, and so that we can release down onto our backs. Ooh, we really turned around on that hip. So lie down onto your back and let your right leg go straight. Ooh, that's some sensation. Let your left leg go straight. Adjust your hips, you're square. And then reset your shoulders and you're square. And then go ahead and rest on your back. We'll rebound in Shavasana. And so your legs are long, big toes fall out. And feel the release here lying on your back. Man, it's so cool, and you may have noticed I mentioned the city sounds, and I can feel that they're there. They've fully become a part of the practice, part of the meditation. I don't feel the pull or the push of that energy in any way at all. And that's the idea. When you exist within yourself, and that push and that pull is not nearly as strong as it may have been at one time. Take your arms over your head. Go ahead and give yourself a nice full body stretch here. Point your toes. You might still be feeling the effects in your right leg. We get to do it all again on the other side. Bend your legs, both feet flat. You can turn onto your left hip. And with your left arm over your head, pause here. Rest your head into your bicep. Nice. We'll transition. Use your hand, press all the way around, and come on up to all fours. And so for me, I've turned around 180 degrees. That's okay. And set up here onto your hands and knees. You might feel nice to move your hips a little bit side to side. And we incorporate these light movements, right? Sometimes in between intense periods of stillness, and so that you can feel in what you've opened, you can feel that energy, the chi flowing through your body. You bring your left foot forward in between your hands. And you can pad your right knee, and by rolling your mat. And we'll take some space. Distance between the knees is going to open up to the hips. In front of the left shoulder into the top of your left knee, and lower part of your thigh. Your right hand is there. And to balance. But less strength as you balance. And the hips come down, the head can hang heavy. And the chin softening towards the chest. You notice what's going on in your jaw. And release your tongue, relax your jaw. And feel the muscles of the eyes. You also release with the weight of your head. And the neck is here connected, but it doesn't have to do much, if anything at all. You've made it this far pretty deep in your lunge, and that's the exciting part. You get to a point, a layer upon layer upon layer in your body. It does not start right where you are now. So you've gotten to this point, and so now if you really start to become curious about letting go even further, right, see where it goes. can take this scenario and you can play it out. The yoga life of it all is, what if you were to start seeing your day as layers? And you get deeper and deeper and deeper into the layers of the day. You're including your practice in all parts of your day, and all parts of your day are included in your practice. Right? Find yourself, meet yourself, observe, right, as part of your doing, as part of your responsibilities, as part of your interactions and your conversations. Observe. And keep turning in. Let's take 3 deep breaths here. And go slowly. As you start to lift the head, take some of the weight off the leg. Ooh. And slide your left foot back. Yes, sound effects are totally fine and normal as you bring your left foot behind, back to all fours. You unroll your mat or any padding that you had underneath your right knee. And then crawl your knees forward a little bit, and before you rock off onto your right hip, you slide your right foot forward. And then your left knee here is tucked, and where your foot can be around the front of your thigh. And find the shape, the deer leg shape. And both legs bent. And then we're going to go ahead and turn away from that left hip, the one that was just compressed. And so as you start to make your way back onto your right elbow, this can be enough. Completely. And on this side, this can be enough. Even if you went, or if I went all the way down on the first side, pay attention to what you're feeling in your body. And we're not forcing it, and yet we can explore. And coming down onto the shoulder. Eventually rolling all the way down onto the back. I love coming to know, right, that wow, one side of the body is really holding on to it. And the reason why it's great to realize it is because when you're moving through those vinyasa practices and not necessarily sitting in the depth of the body is what you're doing here, right, you could start creating patterns. Ways that you're gripping and you're holding on and you're squeezing in poses, and one side of the body will tell, and the other side of the body maybe needs to wake up a little bit more. So, in dominance and non-dominance, and then yet when you get into a practice of detox, right, let it all turn into space. If it's tighter, great, right? And by being here, we can give our body a gift of balance, which is like, man, what an incredible bonus. It's part of your day today. Maybe it's completely unexpected, so it has that much more significance, right? Feeling, whatever that looks like for you today. Many times you'll get into a position in this practice, and in the first 30 seconds you're like, no way. And your mind just wants to run away from it, and you want to get out of it. But then after about a minute, 90 seconds, 2 minutes, and you let all of that stuff, right, wash through you. Let all of those thoughts appear. Feel that response and the urgent reaction of wanting to get out, and then see what happens when you stay in. And if you didn't stay in today, then give it another go, right? Maybe you'll stay in tomorrow. I mean, to me, it's way better and to exist in the space of the practice, even when it's really intense, rather than being out in a world where I'm just being pulled around and then pushed around and then pulled around, and then the next wave of energy and information comes and pushes me again and then pulls me back and then pushes me down harder. The intensity that we're feeling here, much rather exist in all of that, and because it's spawning and it's breeding more space, more light, more peace. And versus out there, it can be anybody's agenda, right? Power, control, right? Whatever those things might be, games. If you're on your elbow, right, you lean just enough. If you're on your back, and slowly sliding the foot forward as the knee comes up. And then we're going to let the left leg go. Ooh. Adjust your hips. And release your left leg long. And release your right leg long. Adjust your shoulders. Reset your head. You can exhale just like that. Take a little sigh. And happy place right here. He opened you up to receive. And having been in these positions now, it's an incredible opportunity to, you may fall asleep. You may feel so relaxed that you fall asleep. But if you hover right above in that place of falling asleep, and keep observing. Don't be surprised if walking feels a little different and eventually when you get up, but and stay here. Lie here, observe here as long as you'd like to. And whatever you're getting into next, please transition and with yourself as gently and with patience. You're as gentle and with patience. I hope you enjoyed the practice. Take it with you. And incorporate that detox at least once a week. In the evenings, it can be really nice. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thank you for starting it and continuing it or ending it in this way. And we'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.